welcome back. Hopefully, at least. Thanks for coming back to check out my channel. Hopefully you've seen a couple of my other videos with some photography at Disney. A lot of that stuff was night stuff. As you can see here, I've got some daytime stuff. So we're gonna go over some photos that I've taken at Magic Kingdom. If you want some like in-depth f-stop versus ISO versus shutter speed type discussion, my other videos kind of focus on that a little bit. Here we're just going to be talking about what it takes to get some of these different photos, and hopefully you can get it right kind of closer to the first time versus 100 shots in when you've lost some opportunities maybe. So with that in mind, we're just going to kind of get straight into it. First off, Disney opened Tron, right? So it's their newest coaster. It's great. It's a fun, quick coaster. It's one of their fastest, I think. And it's just a lot of fun. It gets a lot of flack because it's a relatively short ride, which it is, absolutely. But that being said, for what it's worth, I think it's fun. I think it's a great ride. It's based on the 2010 movie Tron, obviously, which was a sequel to the 1982 Tron. The graphics are more like the 2010 Tron, and then even updated some. Basis of the ride is it starts out outside. It's a launch, which actually starts from like below, like the elevation where I'm at when I took this photo. It shoots you up and around. This is kind of a low point, and then it jumps back up where it enters a small opening into the ride building itself. So I love the aesthetics of Tron. I think it's a great, more than anything, the aesthetics are just amazing. I like the interior of the building itself. It makes you kind of feel like you're truly in a computer, like in the actual movie. If you haven't seen Tron, I recommend it. It's kind of a sci-fi. It's a real, what I like, aesthetically pleasing movies. It definitely meets that, fills that void or that gap. So first photo here. So this is again standing right outside, right after the launch. Things are still pretty intense here, and hard photo to take because the train comes through here pretty quick. It's probably traveling, if I had to guess, 50 to 60 miles an hour or something like that through here. This photo was taken at 1/2000th of a second. To get that, I needed f2.8 ISO 800. If I would have, because it was, I guess to this day, I think it was a little overcast actually. But anyway, so as you can see, motion's pretty well stopped here. You can see the holes in the wheels of the train. Everybody's looks like it's having a good time. A couple different faces on some of the people. I love the reactions that different people have. I just think it's super cool. Anyways, if you have a fast camera, just mash on the shutter, and hopefully it's in burst mode, and you'll get hopefully a good photo. This was actually a little early, and I think the next one was a little late. So either way, moving on to the next photo. Got a bunch to go through. So this is the very next photo in the sequence. So you can see here, I purposely left it a little bright so you can see her reaction to what's going on. I thought that was hilarious. Next train through, you can see again lots of good reactions. A couple people a little more scared than others. I like this one. It's got some of these lights that light up blue up here. These follow the train through. Sometimes they precede it, sometimes they follow it. But either way, those come through. Here's another one. These two here. I think the next photo, yeah, they're waving at the people watching, including myself. So I thought that was great. In the back here, they do have a regular seat for, if you can't sit on the motorcycle style seat. So if I knew who these people were, I would totally reach out to them and send them a picture, send them a copy of this. Another one here. Again, a lot of these are the same. I just just took a bunch of pictures. I thought this one was cool. I'm not always the best at taking like framing shots, but I thought this was pretty cool. Still here, I'm at 1/2000th because just the movement of the coaster. Here it's slowed down a little bit because it's at the top of the hill, but it's still probably going 30 miles an hour or something like that. It's still moving pretty good, maybe 40 even. It's right after, like that's the highest point before it goes inside the building. This is the same, I think this is the same coaster, yeah. So this is just the next shot around, and then one more. You can see everybody's having a really good time. And then I moved, and so this is, again, this is the highest point of the coaster outside. There we go, kind of cleared up a little bit there. Just love the color, the blue. In the movie, the blue and white are kind of like the good guys, and orange and red is kind of like the bad guys. So this is, everybody's the good guy in these. And here's another similar, just cool. I just love the aesthetics of it. A couple of these are peppered through. I don't know if these are in the exact order I took them in, but had to go in and get some pictures of some of the different rides. So it's a small world. To give you an idea, so at night here we're at ISO 1600, f2.8, and 1/30th of a second. Oh, all of these are shot on my Fuji X-T4 with an XF16 lens, which goes down to f1.4. Also, the body has stabilization, so IBIS, but no OIS, no optical image stabilization in the lens. But yeah, gotta have the classics. So it's a small world. Peter Pan's Flight. Probably need to clean this one up a little bit. Either that or wait till it's a little bit later. There's a lot of people in line, which is not a bad thing necessarily. It's probably really hard to take without people, but might wait a little bit later in the night to take a picture with less people in it. Mickey's PhilharMagic. Just think it's this was actually kind of challenging photo to take. It's got a lot of highlights and lowlights. I did play around with it a lot in Lightroom to get it to work out right. But ISO 1600, f2.8, and 1/30th. Same kind of photo, but with the castle in the background. This was after the fireworks had gone off for the night, so 9:30, 10 o'clock almost. Princess Fairy Tale Hall. I'm not so sure. I think I need to retake this photo and start out darker, because the highlights here, even with playing around with them in Lightroom, it's still too bright in this area. So I'm my own worst critic sometimes. But either way, yeah, I think there's definitely room for improvement on this photo. Overall, it's not too bad, but Enchanted Tales with Belle. This was extremely hard photo to take because that light is super bright, and the area behind this, we'll call it forest or wooded area, was really dark. Ended up ISO 1600, f2.5, 1/60th of a second. And then not gonna lie, it's a lot of changes in Lightroom to make it even close to being usable, basically. This light's just so bright. Same thing here, lots of highlights on this statue of Gaston. Again, I tried playing around. I think I need to go back and sit and probably spend an hour in front of this to kind of get it the exact way I want it. But I wanted some motion in the water, so I'm down at 1/8 of a second, ISO 500, but I had to be at f1.8 to get that. So yeah, a little bit of depth of field challenge here. Probably could have gone up quite a bit in ISO, and also gone up in the f-stop to get a little bit better depth of field. But that was my first times trying to shoot here. Ariel, This same thing. This was terribly hard, especially being that the light shines up, so it creates these crazy shadows just above her nose, and on her chest, obviously too. So again, difficult to shoot. Basically, it came down to, in this case, ISO 2000, f1.8, 1/60th, but then in Lightroom, I had to bring the highlights way, way, way down in order to get it even close to usable. Storybook Circus. This particular night, there were just some people who just wouldn't leave. They kept hanging around the poles out here where these trash cans are. I did my best to remove them from the photo, but you can kind of see where that area is. If you look closely, it's right there. It's terrible. But I want to come back and take more photos of this too. The circus, like this is overexposed to me, even though it's at 1/30th and ISO 1000. So I'll probably come back and do that less exposure and then have to bring up some of the light in Lightroom to get the way I really want it. I want to be able to see more of the individual lights in the circus name. Same thing here, Big Top Souvenirs. This is actually, in my opinion, better than the last one because you can see the individual light bulbs. This one 1/30th, ISO 800, f2.0. Didn't think it was too bad. Actually, just noticed somebody left an umbrella there. And a bag there. Everybody was mostly gone by the time I was here, but just hadn't picked their stuff up, I guess. So this is in the same area. This is like a water park type area basically for the kids to play in some water and stuff like that. It's cool. I like the colors. I think the color is great in this area. I like the lights that hang. Just overall pleasing. Here we're at ISO 1600, 1/30th, f2. Just real quick, so f2, like there's a lot of depth of field for f2. You can kind of see it's a little blurry way back here on this cart and the trunk of that elephant, whereas the engine here, the locomotive, is pretty crisp. So did give up a little bit of depth of field by using the f2.0 lens on this one, or setting. I should have probably gone to like f4 or 5.6. At first glance, it's not that bad, but if you pixel peep and kind of zoom in, you can see the stuff in the back isn't in good focus. But it's a trade-off, right? Because if I go to a higher f-stop, then I have to go to a higher ISO or a lower shutter speed or both. The fabulous Barnstormer. One night we rode this like 6 times back to back to back because during the fireworks nobody was there, nobody walked up, so they just let us stay on. It was amazing. So as you can see here, what's it, 9:20? So it was right after the fireworks. I thought this was an okay picture. Settings 1/30th, f1.8, ISO 500. Got a picture of the plane from the Barnstormer breaking through the billboard for the Barnstormer. These are hard to take too because you've got motion. So I'm at 1/500th of a second, ISO 6400, which is really high, way higher than I'd want to be, and f1.4. So really hard to take this photo with the motion. That being said, I've got some highlights that I'd like to get rid of, even though like I toned them down as much as possible anymore, and it just kind of gets to be too toned down. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'll have to think about this one again if I want to take this photo again. And here we go. So I think most of the rest of these are Tron at night. So Tron at night's fun. First off, it's great, a great setting. The visuals are just awesome. I booked it here when the fireworks started going off from Barnstormer, or that area, because I like, hey, like I bet I can get a good photo of the fireworks and Tron, and I was able to. So challenging, obviously, still a lot of people in the area. So this particular photo with the fireworks, so ISO 1250, f2.0, 125th of a second, came out okay. Some motion blur in the ride, so you can see the ride back there is a little blurry. So 1/125th really isn't fast enough. Like we talked about earlier, I had it way up at 1/2000th to get it completely stopped. But yeah, overall it's not too bad. Next photo, this one is one of my favorites. So this particular photo, it's cropped a little bit, obviously, to get the people out of it. 1/500th of a second, so a lot less motion in the ride vehicle back there. I love this like dark blue with the chasing hexagons, and then of course the contrasting orange fireworks. I thought this turned out great. A little bit of like reflection of the fireworks in the building of Tron. Just really like this one. But yeah, 1/500th, ISO 2500, f2. This one was cool. The timing, there was a few of these that I had that were similar. This particular timing on this one though, the ride vehicle could have been just a little bit later because the fireworks had already started to like basically fizzle out, I guess. But you can see some blur for the fireworks here. I was shooting for some blur. I just was hoping it would be farther up in the path, because you also had like the orange of the what we call the bad guys in Tron, basically. So again, I just wish that would have been a little bit further up. This particular one, to get that motion blur, is down at 1/8 of a second, ISO 160, and then of course f2.0 still. This one is a little overexposed on the fireworks side and underneath. I guess I had brought. Let me just fix that. Maybe that's a little bit better. 1/125th, ISO 800, f2. But again, 1/125, you can still see some blur in the ride vehicle back there, whereas everything else is like nice and crisp. So yeah, it's hard to see it's hard to tell when you're doing this live. This one, so you actually see the ride vehicle here. It's blurry. This was a 1/2 second exposure. So I think I did pretty good for hand holding it. Maybe not as crisp as it could be, but not bad at all. Got the trails for the fireworks, and of course the ride vehicle moving. It's a little too blue. Let's see if we can. Oh man, I haven't turned saturation down. Turned everything down on this. Yeah. Maybe it was a little overexposed to start. I think this is a good one. So this is similar, but the lighting, just like the fill, looks so much better. This guy was 1/2 second also, but f4, so a little, I guess it's not quite as bright, and then ISO 400. So I like the ride vehicle being moving in motion there, and of course the trails from the fireworks. Again, like the nice reflection off the building here. This one's like a full 1 second exposure. Was trying to get the motion blur without overexposing the rest of the canopy here. So to do that, I dropped ISO down all the way down to 160, and then f8. So tighten that aperture down, and then hand holding. I think on this you can see these little pillars down here. These little, I guess the railing supports. I was leaning on one of those, using it as a brace in order to keep the camera steady. Because this is like, for 1 second handheld, this is pretty good. I think it's pretty crisp for the most part. But I do really like the motion blur from the train. It's basically the same thing all the way up at f16. It's a little bit darker. Of course, the canopy wasn't as lit for this one either. They changed like the intensity of all the background lights from time to time depending on the ride. It changes every single time, it seems like. But yeah, f16 and then ISO 160 here. This particular photo, these are hard to take. So timing and exposure time, like everything is hard about this. I like the orange and blue, obviously. I think I've said that a couple times already now. And I was shooting to get the blue streak from the ride vehicle as it came through here. So I was looking for like 1 second or greater in terms of like shutter speed. So this particular shot is f16 1 second, but it's blurry, like everywhere. People are moving, and the ride vehicle is way over here. But I did like the orange and the blue. So the very next photo is the same. I think it was the same train. Or maybe it was 2 trains later. I can't remember now. Gosh. But anyways, this was what I was going for. So this is 3 full seconds handheld. I was leaning up against the railing support here. ISO 160 f16 to get the exposure right. Now, is it perfect? No, it's blurry. Like you can see, like nobody can hold 3 seconds handheld with other people in the photo and it not be blurry. But that being said, I love this photo just because of the really long blue train. Like in the movie, they leave these blue light bars behind them basically, and if you run into it, you wreck. And like that's the exact same thing I was looking for. And of course with the orange, it's just like so great. This is like need a tripod kind of thing. Which I've talked about. You can take a tripod to Disney. You just can't be obnoxious with it, obviously. But yeah, so anyways, moving on. Similar, but this is with the blue. This particular one, this was 2 seconds, handheld also, f16, ISO 160. Because it's 2 seconds, so the light bar is shorter, and you can see kind of both sides of it a little bit, so the picture started earlier anyways. Like get the nice big hexagons up here, and actually, like for being handheld, it's not that bad. Zoom out a little bit, and can't even tell. But yeah, it's just some different things you can try to get kind of the different styles, the different looks when doing this. And this one, so exact opposite. This particular photo was at 1/2000th, ISO 2500 f1.4. So mostly everything is stopped, is not moving in this. And well, the other thing is crazy, so I was here kind of late. Not a single person on the ride, which a few of the coasters came through with nobody on them. So I thought that was neat also. Here's a similar photo. Also 1/2000th, f1.4, ISO 2500. Just settings played with a little bit in Lightroom to kind of make some of the colors pop a little bit more. You can see here's another one, 1/2000th. This one actually has people on it. But at these shutter speeds at night, with f1.4, like you're just not guaranteed to get anything perfectly focused. It's just not gonna happen. But still looks cool, I think. I really like the person pointing here. It's like a little bit of an action shot. A couple other people taking some picture and or video with their cell phones. Kind of a neat one. Some framing of the ride vehicle through the actual canopy. Same thing, just this one looks like a couple people on it. This one doesn't have anybody on it. And then just barely caught some of the orange in this one. A little bit different angle, a little bit shallower angle. On this one, I'm back to 1/2000th f1.4 this time, ISO 2500. And then this one, I purposely turned up the vibrance and saturation to get a little bit more of the orange in the background here. Just love the way that looks off the canopy. And then another photo from a little bit different angle. Both of these, actually, so this one's 1/250th. This one is 1/1000th. So you can kind of tell the difference there. I really like this one because you can see, if you look in the background, you can see the Astro Orbiter back there. Another one similar, this one's at 1/500th, f1.4, ISO 6400. And yeah, that was the last of the Tron. Came over, took some of Space Mountain. Space Mountain, this one's 1/80th, f2.2, ISO 3200. You see most everything's in focus here, even though we're at, what did I say, f2.2. Just the distance that I am from everything means nothing's significantly closer, so you can get away with the low f-stop and still have a decent depth of field. And then of course Tron, this is an edited photo a little bit. I took away where it said presented by Enterprise here. The green, it just kills the aesthetic when everything else is like beautiful blue, black, and white basically. But I thought this was great. I love the way this looks. This is where there's a PhotoPass photographer that always stands right here. So I had to wait for them to leave for the night. You can still see there's some people in the background, but just not as obvious. There's not a lot of people. Same thing here, obviously edited with the Enterprise out. This one, got the ride vehicle in the background, the way far background. It's a long ways away at this point. f1.4 though, and 1/500th, ISO 3200. And then I just took a couple other pictures around the area. The people mover, some of the lights here are so bright that they're so difficult to take pictures of and have any sort of like decent lighting to see anything in the background. So like this is at 1/500th, ISO 3200, f1.4. I guess I should have made the f-stop higher and the shutter speed lower on this. But Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, same thing. We've got some crazy highlights and lowlights here. 1/60th, f2.8, ISO 3200. The Monsters Inc. laugh floor. Same deal, the lights here, so you can't see where it says Disney Pixar's Monsters at the top very well. But the rest, like the actual sign, is actually a really good color. This could probably be cropped in about like that and be a much better photo. 1/60th, 2.8, ISO 800. Took some pictures of some of the 50th anniversary statues that are around the park. These are all going to be in the center area in front of the castle. Let's see here. So we got Goofy, ISO 3200, f1.4, 1/125th. In retrospect, I should have made this like maybe f2.8 and done 1/60th or 1/30th. Donald Duck, ISO 4000, f2, 1/30th. I thought this one came out pretty well. Good color, blurred background, kind of exactly what I was looking for. The castle, I swear people walk out of this and walk and stand in front of this until all hours of the night. Like, it kind of blows my mind how long they do. So this picture took me a long time to get. Like, I stood here waiting for at least an hour after I thought everybody would have already been mostly on their way out. Difficult photo to take just for that single reason. This particular photo, f1.4, 1/60th, ISO 2500. I got a lot of practice photos, so like when it finally came time and everybody was gone, it was pretty easy to get the right shot here. And of course, you got Minnie in front of the castle. 1/15th f4 ISO 2000. I was looking to get that better depth of field with the castle in the background, so I did make f-stop 4.0 for this one. I thought it turned out okay. You actually still see people. So this was taken after the last castle shot, and you can still see people here lined up for the PhotoPass photographer. This was like at least an hour after closing. I think this might be 2 more photos. So I got Tomorrowland. I think I love the Tomorrowland, just like the future stuff in Magic Kingdom. I love the colors here. It just makes for a really pleasing photo to me. You can see that it's closed off entirely at this point, so nobody's back there anymore. This particular photo, 1/125th, ISO 1250 f1.6, and I thought it turned out pretty well. I'm pretty happy about this photo. And then, oh yeah, last photo of the night, the Disney 100 photo, the railroad station. Again, also another hard photo to take. I should probably come back through and mask this and reduce some of the highlights. The highlights are already reduced on this quite a bit. And if I do anything more, it just makes the whole thing kind of dim. I don't think I can turn, exposure. Yeah, it's a little bit better. But really, I think masking it and fixing some of the highlights, specifically to that area where the clock is, would help. But here, we're down at 1/15th of a second, f2, ISO 800, to get rid of all the noise. There you are. That's the last photo of the night. So obviously there's a lot more things you can take pictures of in Magic Kingdom. I just like the Tron stuff. I just happened to be that part of the of Magic Kingdom whenever it was closing time, so I wanted to take pictures of all that stuff. So after taking some time to take some photos of the railroad station here, turned around, walked out. Obviously, it's still busy leaving Magic Kingdom, so just know that anytime you plan on staying past the fireworks or even up to the fireworks, it's probably going to be busy leaving. If it's worth it to you or not, it's up to you. I tend to do this at night when I can leave my wife and daughter at home and I don't have to worry about them waiting on me, basically. So I just kind of do the solo deal. Just being patient, give yourself some time, take a nap late in the day so you can stay up late to do this. Just whatever it takes to be, patient, ready to take as many photos as it takes to get the right shot. And then hope for the best, because when you get home, they aren't always, as you can see, they aren't always as good as you'd like them to be. So anyways, thanks for watching. Remember, I have the other 2 videos about these same topics. One's at Epcot, one's at Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios, and I do intend to come up with more. So, I do, if you want any photos, any copies of any of these photos, just let me know which one it is you like. Send me an email. I'll put my email in the description below. And no problem sharing that with anybody that wants it. Again, thanks for watching.